Last week, the Islamic State group was all over the news after beheading American journalist James Foley. This week, an American has died fighting for them. 33-year-old Douglas McAuthur McCain was from San Diego, California. But McCain is not the first American to die fighting in Syria, and Syria isn't the only place where U.S. citizens have been killed fighting for foreign armies this summer. In July, 2 Americans serving in the Israeli army, Max Steinberg and Sean Carmelli, took part in the invasion of Gaza. They didn't get out alive. A month earlier, Munir Abu Salha from Florida blew himself up at a Syrian army checkpoint. He was recruited by Al-Qaeda's Syrian affiliate, the Al-Nusra Front. Back in 2013, Omar Hamami of Alabama was killed in Somalia. He'd risen up so high in the ranks of the Al-Shabaab group that the FBI placed a $5 million bounty on his head. And historically, Americans have been involved in conflicts abroad. For example, the Abraham Lincoln Brigade was made up entirely of Americans fighting in the Spanish Civil War. So is it legal for Americans to fight for foreign armies? Well, if you join a group that the U.S. has designated a terrorist organization like Al-Nusra or Al-Shabaab, then no, it's not legal. Otherwise, you might be surprised to find that with some caveats, Americans are free to fight abroad. In 1967, the Supreme Court decided that citizenship was a right that could not be taken away even for serving in a foreign army. That is, unless you fight against the U.S., which is considered treason. But what about dual citizenship? The U.S. government says it understands some of its citizens may have to do military service for other countries, but it prefers they avoid it if possible. So what about groups like the Taliban, which the U.S. doesn't officially list as a terrorist organization? Well, because the U.S. says it's hostile to it, Americans have gotten in trouble for signing up. For example, John Walker Lind, the so-called American Taliban, claimed he was simply joining a foreign army without intending to fight the U.S. The U.S. government disagreed, and Lind is serving 20 years in jail. On the flip side, can foreigners serve in the U.S. military? Yep, about 4% of U.S. soldiers aren't American citizens, but they do get a fast-track citizenship. Between 2002 and 2013, around 90,000 people serving in the U.S. Armed Forces became citizens. So, what do you think about people fighting for foreign armies? And where do you draw the line? Let us know. Subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook.